What up, y'all? Today's episode of the RV Voice is brought to you by RV Fix. And let me tell you, if you've ever found yourself stranded with an RV issue miles from the nearest service center, you know how frustrating that can be. Well, that's where RV Fix comes in. Imagine having a master RV tech right in your pocket. Yeah, you heard that right. With RV Fix, all it takes is a quick phone call and boom, you're connected via video call with an expert who can guide you through fixing your issue, saving you both time and money. Then here's the kicker. Try RV Fix risk-free with a 14-day free trial. You'll need to enter your card number just like most subscriptions, but don't worry, you won't be charged until after the trial ends. If you decide to continue, please use the code RVVoice at checkout. This really helps support the RV Voice and keeps us going strong, and we really appreciate it. Seriously, guys, this is a game changer. Stay on the road and keep your RV in tip-top shape with RV Fix. Learn more at rvfix.com. All right. Welcome to another episode of the RV Voice. We have this is the second time we have her on. The first time we had her on, we had a little bit of, how do you say that? Just technical difficulties, connection issues. I don't remember where she was at the time. That was about a month ago, and we had to reschedule. I've been very busy. But anyway, this family, I'm only talking to the wifey in this one, but the family has been on the road for 2.5 years. They have 3 kids, and they started in a travel trailer. And they moved up to a nice 40-some foot fifth wheel Solitude, 21 Grand Design Solitude. I'm going to say the model 3740 BH. So big old fifth wheel with a bunk room, which is not what everyone usually goes to. A lot of toy haulers in this full-time community. But anyway, let's welcome a perfectly good enough life, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome, and thank you for being on the RV Voice. We're going to hear your story, how you did it, how you keep doing it, and why you keep doing it. Sound good?
Sounds great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, fingers crossed we have no technical difficulties this time. And here we go. Let's talk about your personal journey into the full-time RV life. You started 2.5 years ago. You started with a Grand Design travel trailer. Imagine 28-foot-ish, probably, I would assume. Usually 28 BH, 30 BH, around that area. But you moved into a fifth wheel. So let's start about like how you transitioned into full-time life, why you transitioned to it, and then just kind of share how it all got started.
Yeah, sure. So our journey actually began longer ago. In 2021, my husband retired from the military for medical reasons, and we actually decided to buy a travel trailer and try out RV life because we didn't have anywhere we needed to be. So we thought that sounded like a great idea. Why stay in hotels when you can have an RV? So we bought, So we bought a 28-foot travel trailer. We had 3 very little children at that time, and we set off on the road, sold most of our stuff, and thought it was our greatest adventure ever. And we lasted about 4 months before we realized we had made some very rookie mistakes on the road and thought, okay, that was fun, but we're gonna settle down. That was a great adventure. Moving on. So we actually rented a house in Nevada. We thought we were settling into a new life. We sold our travel trailer. We sold our truck. We settled in. My husband got a job, and we were not happy. And we were really bummed that we didn't make it on the road. So I thought, why don't we try it again? My husband said, no, we already tried it. And I said, why don't we try it again?
That's too damn bad. We're doing it again.
Okay. So we knew we had gone too small the first time for us. Other people do it just fine. It was too small for us. So we decided, let's buy a bigger truck. Let's buy a bigger trailer. So that's why we ended up with a 40-foot fifth wheel, went with a bunkhouse. And that was 2.5 years ago. This time we really sold off everything except what fits in like the smallest storage unit you can get. And now 2.5 years in, and there's no end in sight.
Heard that from a lot of people, that there's not a lot of, they don't really plan on ending. Once they finally get the groove of it, some people say it within 2 months, they're like, this is it. We're not going back. I've heard that before. And then I've heard, obviously once you get the right fit and finish for you, like you guys said, the first time around it was a little rough on you. We can dive into that a little more if we want. I want to. Why? Why'd you stop? Why was the stop again? Like you said, it was just a little too much of a hassle. You had 3 little kids. How was your oldest? How old was your oldest that time?
So my oldest was, I think, 7. I think he was 7, maybe 6. And then I had a 3-year-old, and our baby was actually only about 5 months old when we got on the road. Yeah.
Woof.
So yeah. And so we were in this small travel trailer. Great. We loved our travel trailer. We really did. It was so great. It fit everywhere. But we had no privacy for us or the kids. They had no space for their things. And we just realized we had seen other people do it. We thought we could do it, but it just wasn't the right fit for us. Having the bunkhouse now, and we love our fifth wheel as much as a toy hauler is very appealing. We really love our fifth wheel a lot, and it's been really good to us. And so the space was our biggest thing. The other problem is, twofold. One, we moved way too fast. We were excited. We wanted to see all of the things. My husband was on a little bit of a deadline because we had to get from Virginia to Nevada within a certain amount of time for him to get established with the VA there. So we were on a little bit of a timeline. We had a baby. We were jumping like every 3 to 4 days, and we were spending a ton of money on parks, and we got burnt out very quickly.
Yeah. But it was his idea, right?
Totally. Absolutely.
First time
I had nothing. No, it was mine both times.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Always me. Always me.
Always him. Well, thank him for his service. I don't know if I got a chance to do that down there in Florida when I met y'all. But anyway, so it wasn't his idea. It was your idea both times. Now he's got into the VA thing. He said, I'm assuming, since that was 2.5 years ago. So he's all good there. But this time around has been a lot more comfortable for you guys. So I'm guessing you planted yourselves longer at different stays, done more full-time stuff, 1,000 trails, kind of like that, I'm guessing.
Exactly like that. Yeah. We had actually bought 1,000 Trails membership right before we got off the road the first time. And we bought it. We paid outright for it. And then we got off the road, but we didn't sell it. So that was one of the ways I was able to convince my husband to get back on the road, is because we had this membership that we had never used. And if we had sold it, we weren't going to get all the money back anyways. So now we stay at 1,000 Trails as much as possible. And we try to stay at least 1 week. We very rarely stay less than that. And we try to stay 2 to 3 weeks anywhere that we can.
Perfect. So you were talking about kind of the first time around, it was a perfect little travel trailer, but more of a weekender type deal, maybe a week or 2 stays, shorter term, just because of no privacy and no space for things. So transitioning out of that back into the real world, everyone knows how to do the real world. You can have things, your house can fill a lot of stuff. I mean, you got 2,500 square foot ish, maybe 1,800 to 2,500 square foot, maybe 3,000, whatever. You can fit a lot of stuff in a house, right? So how did you go about transitioning back out of the house in Nevada back to fifth wheel and downsize that? So what steps did you prepare that second time to go full time? Because the first time it sounds like it was kind of on a whim, we'll figure it out on the way. But the second time, how did you do it properly?
Yeah. So the first time, one unique thing for us, and people in the military will understand this, is when you travel for the military, either when they move you to a new base or when you retire, they will move your stuff for you. They pack it up, they move it, or they will store it. So in this case, we sold off some things, but we had them keep the rest of it in a storage in Virginia. And then once we settled in Nevada, they sent it out to us. And yes, we rented a large home, a beautiful home. And then we filled it with even more things. So we had a lot. The second time, honestly, I think it was easier for us to actually get rid of stuff because we knew what we were getting into. So we sold as much as we possibly could. We donated the rest. because I am more cautious, believe it or not, even though I recommended this lifestyle twice, I didn't want to get rid of too much because we'd already like failed one time. So we did get a bigger storage unit, and anything that didn't sell that was like we thought at the time was of value, we did put in that bigger storage unit. I think it was a 10 by 10 unit, and we stuffed it to the brim. And then we went back, like when we traveled through, if we needed to switch things out or whatever we did. But actually last year we went back to it and we cut the unit in half and we sold off and donated even more stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a 10 by 10 unit I pay $100 for because I moved out to Boise from Nebraska, and I brought everything out because I lived in one house. I lived in one place for almost 6 or 7 years in Lincoln. I was like, all right, you got to take everything I can with me. I mean, a couple of things went back to my parents' house, and I still hear about that. But yeah, they're still griping at me a little bit, but that's okay. But anyway, so I still have that, and I just don't have enough room. I don't have like a master bedroom right now, or like the house we live in. I live in with my buddy. It's just a little small for me to bring all my stuff because my problem is hobbies. So many hobbies.
Oh.
I have fishing, and I have all the gear for fishing. Any type of fishing you want to do, I got it. Hunting, same. I got the same amount of stuff. I got guns, that comes along with it. Got to get a safe. Got to have that. I got 3 motorcycles sitting in the garage. I got all them things. I go skiing. I have a lot of stuff. And then so I can't imagine having 5 bodies and all their stuffs. But it sounds like you transitioned pretty well into the full-time life. So what about the minimalistic lifestyle? So how did you go about, I guess, sifting through your things, right? Like this goes that way, this goes this way.
That is an ongoing process, to be honest. Anyone who knew me before RV life would never call me a minimalist. Absolutely not. Did not come from a minimalist family at all. I wanted all of the things, not even like expensive things. I just wanted all of the things, right? So, and I have a hard time getting rid of things usually. So, honestly, it's an ongoing process. We brought a lot into the RV this time that, we thought we'd need or we thought we couldn't part with. And just as we've gone, you get rid of a lot of it. We try really hard to go through things like every few months and be like, if we haven't worn this, let's get rid of it. If the kids aren't playing with these toys, let's donate those. And we try to just pare it down as little as we can. But honestly, it's kind of an addictive thing. Once you start getting rid of stuff, it feels really great. Like it's hard to do. And then once it's gone, it feels so good. Cutting our storage unit, amazing. If it was up to me, we'd have no storage unit, but my husband is a mechanic by trade and he has all of the tools and a giant toolbox.
You can't get rid of those. I got a lot of them too.
No, yeah. Can't get rid of that. We do have a gun safe that we actually did keep at a family member's house because that definitely wasn't coming with us. But yeah, honestly, it happens little by little. To be honest, looking around, as I'm looking at this e-bike we just got, and I'm like, I'm not sure where we're going to put that. So you just have to figure out what's important and you have to get rid of the rest because you only have so much space and it's not very much.
So it's I've heard that like 2 or 3 month rule. I haven't worn this in 2 or 3 months. Got to go. Like I've watched. There's that Minimalist. It's called The Minimalist, I think, on Netflix. Came out a couple of years back, and it's like, I haven't worn this in 2 or 3 months. And then they have, what do they call those? It's a wardrobe. It's like you can mix and match. Is that what it's? No, maybe no.
Capsule.
It's like a mix and match. You can mix and match everything. That's what it's called, a capsule?
Yeah. Like you have a capsule, it's this many items, and then those items can make, they all go together. You can make however many outfits out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to work on that. That'd be nice. I have dress clothes in my corner. Like you got to have some, right? But I've been in like 7 weddings. I'm turning into like the Katherine Heigl of guys, Katherine Heigl, 27 dresses. That's me. But like I have like wedding. I'm like, God, because you have to pay for it. Some of them are rentals, which is great. But anyway, so getting rid of that stuff is like a main priority. But some of those shirts are $100 a pop. It's like, wow, that's junk. See ya. It's awful.
Yeah.
But though not super easy with all the kids and stuff. How are the kids doing with like toys and stuff? I mean, your oldest is probably what, pushing 10 now. I mean, toys are a thing. So
yeah, the kids aren't as great at the minimalist as we are. We're working on it. My son, he's 10 now, and he's big into Lego. So that takes up a lot of space. So we kind of let them prioritize, like they each get a certain amount of space and then they can fill that with what they want. So he has a lot of Lego, and that's mainly what he has. And then, like my littlest, he likes little animals and things. So he has a couple bins of that. And then we'll keep like a box of like magnetic tiles. Like there's just a few things. And then we cycle through them. Like I said, if they want to bring something else in, or if they get something for a birthday or whatnot, then they know something else is going to have to go. So, it's good for them too, because like my son, if it was up to him, he'd get a new Lego set every day. He goes through them very quickly. He's very quick and very creative, but his builds can get very large, and it's nice. He has to kind of figure out which are most important and which aren't. So I think it's kind of setting them up well early on to really figure out what matters and what they can live without. Because it took me a very long time to learn that. Yeah.
So I was a big Lego kid, and so was my nephew. My nephew's a build it, keep it that way. I was a build it, destroy it, build what I want. Once I figured it out, I was like, that's cool. I play with it for a couple of days, then I just destroy it and use all the pieces for something else. Very abstract brain here. But so what's your boy like? Is he like a build it, keep it, or build it, destroy it?
I don't actually remember the last time we bought a full set, because now he just builds his own thing. The things he builds are amazing. He must get that from my husband, because they'll sit there and build for hours, and he's so creative. He makes these huge like robots and all sorts of like big designs. And he doesn't usually destroy them. His little brother does quite often, but he's very creative. Like if he thinks of an idea, he'll make it happen very quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I miss Legos. I hope my kid loves Legos, because I will be right there with him. My
husband really loves it. He gets into it too, so it's a lot of fun.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But all right, well, cool. So it took a little while to kind of transition. Did you guys have, like, when you first chose your, I guess we'll talk about the fifth wheel. How did you go about choosing that? And what advice would you give someone that's trying to choose their first RV to go full time? Because you went the bunkhouse route, bunk room route, which a lot of people go to the toy hauler route because of space, right? So why did you go bunkhouse this time?
That's a great question. So honestly, I did a lot of research. There were some parameters that we had. My husband did not want anything over 40 feet. That was something to be honest, he really wanted to be closer to like 36 feet. We had looked at some like reflections that were smaller, and almost settled on those. I had fewer requirements. I wanted a washer and dryer, and I wanted a separate space for us and a separate space for the kids. We also wanted 2 bathrooms. So those are like our main requirements. This one fit all of the bills. Now, a toy hauler would have been a great option. It would have been a bigger option, that's for sure. And I think we still would have been interested. But in our case, one of the reasons we chose this is because it was already set up how we needed it. It was already set up for multiple kids. We didn't have to make adjustments. My husband is very handy, but we did not live in an area where we actually had anywhere to park the RV to work on it ahead of time. So there was nowhere we could have done renovations. And we were kind of on a deadline with our lease and whatnot to get out. And that was actually a big factor in it. We needed something that if we wanted to later, we could renovate how we wanted, but we needed to not renovate it right then because we just didn't have the ability to do so. And this was an option that honestly, we bought it used, but it was barely used and it was all stock still and still smelled like new RV. And the bunk room had like never been used ever. And this thing, before you do anything to it, it fits like a ridiculous amount of kids. So that was pretty much what decided it. We could not afford a new one at the time. And honestly, we bought this 2022. It was that time period where it was really hard to find RVs because everybody had been getting on the road, and everything was still slowed down at the factories, and it was just really hard to come by. So we felt really lucky to find this one. It was actually not selling at a ridiculous price. And it was within a short enough drive that we were able to get to it without having to, travel several states away. We only traveled one state away. So it just kind of all worked out.
Yeah. Not only that, when you buy used, for anybody listening, if you buy a couple years old, you get that big chunk of depreciation already gone. If you buy new, you take it off the lot, that thing immediately just tanks in value. Just like any car. I mean, it's very similar, but like RVs are pretty bad about it. I mean, same with a boat, right? A boat's probably the worst. Buy a $250,000 boat, drive it for a year, and it's half the cost immediately. It's ish, but so buying used is a great piece of advice, especially when you go into the full-time thing. But you guys found the perfect one for you, so it worked out great. It's not always the easiest thing to do to find that, but all right.
And I will say,
go ahead.
I was going to say, so my tip for people wanting to buy is, first of all, I mean, there's so many things to consider, right? And there's so many guides out there that will tell you exactly what to do. But my biggest tip always is to actually walk inside of it and move around it and stretch and picture what your life is like. So we didn't have any of the used options near us, but we did go in some of the newer models, which was very hard not to buy, of course. But we went into some of the newer ones just to see, because we knew the layout was the same and we knew it was going to be comfortable, and we let the kids kind of see it and pick out if it was going to be great for them, because not all bunk rooms are the same. They have some bunks are really small, or they just weren't set up for what we needed at the time. And at the time that we were buying, everything was really high priced. Like, we bought really high on our truck. Our truck is not we bought that used as well, but it is worth so little now compared to what we paid for it because of the market at the time. That's why, like I said, we jumped on this one. But I do always recommend an inspection. We did get an inspection because even though it smelled new, that was very important to us. So I feel like we got really lucky with this rig.
Oh, so you recommend an inspection, even if it's on the dealer's lot with the PDI process. Recommend inspection. Sorry. Recommend an inspection on top of it.
So I do actually recommend an inspection always. This was from a private seller, though. So especially with a private seller, because there's no real recourse at all if something happens. But personally, I would probably do one at a dealership as well, especially on used, because you just never know what you're getting into. So I was really glad that we paid that extra expense to get that done.
Perfect. Well, good tips right there. So moving into the full-time life, I mean, your daily life has changed a little bit. So what's the daily life look like for you guys, and how do you manage everyday tasks? Cooking, cleaning, laundry? Do you guys have a washer dryer on there, or do you guys go to laundromats? Everyone's kind of weird about this one. I love asking.
I am, and I share about this a lot. So sometimes we'll get some heat about it. I'm a bit of a laundry snob. So having a washer and dryer was an absolute must for me. Lots of people enjoy laundromats. I am not one of those people. I like having my laundry right here. We don't use fragrances and stuff in our home, and we're really careful about the detergents and things that we use. So, it's really hard for me to go to a laundromat and to have my clothes come out smelling like other people's detergent and their fabric softener or people's dog hair on it. It's a personal choice. I prefer to use ours whenever possible. And because I just like to do it all day long. Like, I like to be able to do it whenever I want, not have to go down to a laundromat. But that's a choice that everybody has to make for themselves. As far as a regular day, honestly, it's pretty much like regular life. It's not anything super exciting most days. We wake up early before our kids do, although they wake up early as well. My husband and I will wake up to get stuff done that we need to do. I go for a walk every morning. And while I do that, the kids get their school started and my husband cooks breakfast and then come home and we finish up, homeschool if we're doing any homeschool that day. We try to we try to break it up for my husband and I, so we both get time to do what we need to do. But so our kids, because they're still little, they still need us, throughout the day. They're not able to just go run around the campground on their own. So usually he takes the morning shift. So after breakfast, and the kids are ready, I will do whatever work I need to do. I'll get content done or send emails or take meetings, whatever the case is. And he'll do lunch, and then after lunch I take over and I'm in charge of the kids, whatever that means. Going outside to play or going on adventures, meeting up with friends. And he then does his workout and gets his work done. And then we usually do dinner at a decent time and we do bed pretty early. So it's not a glamorous life. Some days those are broken up with adventures instead of homeschool, right? So we'll just all go out for an adventure during the day. But a lot of days are just, I think people would be surprised to know how it's just like living in a house for the most part. Just
so
a lot
it's
more
divide and conquer, it sounds like, for you guys.
Yeah, we're really lucky in that way. I know not all, because neither of us works a 9 to 5. We're really lucky that we're able to have a flexible schedule, and some days I take over all day, or some days he does all day, whatever needs to happen.
Very nice. So what are some of the biggest challenges you guys have faced since starting this? Because 2.5 years at it, you're still doing it, so you're doing well. They had to split up. You had to figure that schedule out, I'm sure. That took a little while. You had to figure out spaces, I'm sure, because you had 3 of them, and the bunkhouses really only met 4 to 6 people, right? But to live in it, it's a totally different animal versus going on the weekends or weeks at a time. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Let's see. Some of the biggest challenges for us, one for me is actually the booking and booking our travel and figuring out where we're going to go. More of a challenge than I expected. I thought it would be more fun and easy, but when you find about the needs and wants people are complicated, because we want to go here, but it's not very kid friendly. So we're going to go here where the kids can be, or we want to go visit this spot, but there's no campgrounds nearby. We have to balance the financial aspect of it. We're on a tight budget. So the travel, and just honestly, there's a little bit of decision fatigue involved with it, because it's just a constant decision of where to go. It's this freedom, which everyone just thinks, oh, you have the freedom to go everywhere, which is so fantastic. But also you can go anywhere, which means where do you go?
Where do I go?
Where do I go? What am I going to miss?
Where do I
go here? Yeah. I'm going to go here, but then I'm going to miss out on this. And I have FOMO all the time. So FOMO is a big one, having to overcome that. And
I've never heard that. It makes sense, though.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, well, also, it makes sense, right? You said, where do I go now? I got everywhere to go, but where?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that can be a little tough sometimes. And plus you have to balance, again, the weather too. That's always a thing, right? I'm going to book this, but wait, it's snowing. I've done that several times, by the way. Booked us in a place where it's snowing on accident, or 100 degrees and we're boondocking on accident. So
got to be careful.
It happens. But other than that, challenges, we've been really lucky with our rig, but obviously things still happen. So anytime something breaks or needs to be fixed, that is something to deal with. My husband is very handy, thankfully. So he's done pretty much all of our maintenance at this point, which is why we're so excited about RV Fix, right? Because he can do it himself, but get a little bit of help along the way. So yeah, check it out.
It's supposed to be there. It's not showing up.
It's there. It's there.
It is there. Oh, there it is.
It is. So that's nice that he gets to fix it, but it still is a hurdle, right? Because that's extra money, or you have to figure out shipping. Okay. So mail is a huge Like I never thought about that, but mail is actually the biggest.
Did you read my script or something? Because you're just like nailing these points, and I'm not even.
No,
asking. You create literally. It says like literally we were done to the challenges part, and says how do you handle maintenance and repairs while traveling, and then it says shipping packages ? Oh, she's just like it's like right here.
I'm just skipping it along.
You're crushing it. I don't even have to ask questions. You just take over.
Well, I guess because it doesn't sound great, though. I guess those are all of our challenges. But I'm trying to think otherwise. Honestly, just having little kids on the road can be a real challenge. Of course, it's a lot of fun, too. But, you go to some really great places and you want to go adventure and do things and they're not always into it, or they want to just stay at the campground because the campground you're at has an awesome playground or something, right? Like my kids today were throwing a fit because they wanted to play mini golf at the campground instead of exploring Miami. So we have different idea of what is fun. So that can be a challenge for sure.
Yeah. That's but I never really thought about that. I mean, there's a whole lot of ways to keep kids entertained, right? But kids that actually want to stay at the campground, I mean, that's kind of a good and bad thing, right? Like, well, the campground's fun. It's a money saver that way, right?
True.
So it's like, but then you're like, then you have mom's FOMO. So.
Exactly. And because our kids are younger, again, and different people do different things with their kids, and that's fine. But we do keep a pretty close eye on them. So, because you never know what you're getting at the campgrounds. So, especially, we have a 4-year-old, so he's not going off on his own places. So if he wants to play with friends and they're not, right next door to us or where we can see, that means we're going along with him places. So if I have work to do and my husband has work to do and he wants to go play, well, something's not going to get done then because
that's too damn bad.
All the things have to happen. Yeah, right.
You're gonna have to toughen up, kid. Give me a little bit. Oh shoot! You did mention packages though, shipping and all that. How do you tackle that problem? Because it sounds like there's a whole lot of ways of going about that. And I've heard, Amazon boxes. I've heard, talking to the campsite. Some of them charge $5 to $15 a package, which is ridiculous, but it's another way to make money. It's all the almighty dollar, how it goes. But how do you tackle that, packages and stuff? Because I'm guessing you do Amazon. Who doesn't do Amazon, right?
Yeah, you don't really have a choice in this lifestyle, it feels like. Honestly, mail is more of a challenge than I really thought about. Like, it's something when this is kind of an RV thing, right? When you're in a house, there's certain things that you really take for granted that you don't think about, like, oh, I just get my mail. I give my address. I have mail. It's like this thing that never takes up any space in your mind, right? Like, it's nothing. But when you're on the road, especially if you're, like a content creator like me, you have to figure out how to get lots of packages. So a couple different things. Amazon is always our friend, because we can get things. Not only can we get things quickly, but the Amazon delivery lockers are a huge benefit if we're somewhere with those for a couple reasons. One, because it gives you a free shipping option and a place to pick it up, right? But also because when you travel, shipping times are not always predictable. The thing I like about the lockers is if you don't pick up within a certain amount of time, they just send it back and they refund you. So you're not having to deal with if it showed up here at this campground after I left, what would I do? That person, they would either send it back or I'd have to deal with them and pay. Maybe they'll send it to me. Maybe they won't the next place, So that's a really good benefit of the Amazon lockers, but you can't get everything from Amazon and not all areas have lockers. So usually we just try to plan it out accordingly. Some campgrounds, like you said, some of them will take packages. Some of them will only take packages from certain carriers, certain types of packages. Some of them do charge $5 a package is the most we've spent, but I do know some places charge more. We just try not to have packages delivered there. Sometimes you can do it straight to like a UPS store if that's an option. That can be nice. We just actually signed up for a mail forwarding service. We had not done that previously, but we finally broke down and did that a couple weeks ago. So now we at least have that to get our main mail to, and really anything we want can go there. and then they'll hold that until we're ready to have it sent to us somewhere, and then we'll pay for shipping to have it sent wherever we are, all in one box. So that's a new option that we are exploring.
Very nice. So do you have like a permanent address anywhere? Do you use somebody's or what?
So we do have my mom's address that we use for some things, but now most of our mail will be going to this mail forwarding address.
Perfect. Yeah, I've heard there's other P.O. box style stuff you can do. One in Texas, one in Florida, because that's like a lot of full timers. You know, the majority of them stay in those areas. So, well, awesome. You kind of crushed that one. Daily life challenges and solutions. Good on Stephanie. So I'm guessing you guys did not homeschool prior because your kids were just getting into pre-K. I'm guessing the oldest one was when you first started ish, or pre-K, second grade, in that area. So how do you guys go about homeschooling? Do you catch hate for homeschooling? Do you feel that your kids are thriving with homeschooling?
So we actually, my son, I did homeschool him before we got on the road, but it's never something I had planned to do. The only reason I did was because he was supposed to start kindergarten the year that, you know, the world was shut down and schools were virtual. And I didn't want my kid to be in a virtual kindergarten classroom. I just knew that it wouldn't work for him. He's a very active child. It just wasn't going to be a great experience. He's very sensitive on screens. And it wasn't right for us. So I thought, kindergarten, how hard could that be? So I'll just homeschool him. And then my plan was really just to put him in regular school whenever things got back to normal. But after we started doing it, we really enjoyed it, and we found communities doing it, and my kid was thriving. And so after that, we kind of made the decision that we would continue to homeschool. And now at this point, it's hard to imagine anything else for him. Like at this point, we never say that things are going to be forever because we also listen to what our kids want. But at this point in time, I have no plans to put him in public school. So for us, we take more of an unschooling approach. But people are very careful with that as well, because people have different ideas of what that means. So for us, it means more of like an eclectic homeschool. Like we do some book work, a little bit of book work here for math. My kid, like I said, he's very creative. He wants to grow up and be an engineer. So because I know that he will need to learn a lot of math in order to do that, that's something we do book work for and we focus on. We also do some language arts with him, but everything else is done for him and my other kids through our lifestyle. So he learns by doing things. We learn from our travels. It's all interest-based learning. So, you know, if they're really into dinosaurs, we're going to go learn about dinosaurs. They're really into, my daughter loves all sorts of animals. So she constantly asks questions about that. We're a very health-focused family. And my husband has an autoimmune disease. And so we do a lot of, honestly, they know probably more about the human body than a lot of kids their age, because we just naturally talk about things and we discuss nutrition and all sorts of stuff. So I think that they're thriving. We do get hate because I think in any lifestyle, you're going to get hate. I mean, we get hate for being RVers. We get hate for homeschoolers. But it's really nice to be on the road because most of the people you come, obviously, are homeschoolers, right? Some of them are in some sort of virtual school option, but for the most part, it's homeschooling. And it's nice for them to be around other kids like that because they don't feel like they're weird or anything. I don't think they even know otherwise. They don't really spend that much time with other kids outside of the community. Yeah. So they don't really know. And I can tell you, like, my kids can carry on a conversation with any age person. They can talk to adults about things. They can answer questions, things that I definitely could not do at that age. They're very social and they make friends with all different age kids, whether that's toddlers on up to teenagers. They're never they don't ever feel like they can't talk to someone because that kid is outside of their age range. And that's something that I think is a real benefit of homeschool.
I really think that these kids are going to come out very well-rounded, very cultured, very, I guess they're just their abilities are going to be better. I personally believe that. Now, The one thing that I always worry about is because my life track, I mean, okay, let me back up. I went to parochial school, K through 12, right? They tried to beat my personality out of me. It didn't work, but most kids would crack. I won, let's just say. But I got in trouble a lot for that, but whatever. But one thing that I see, I mean, obviously kids are playful, kids are very active, kids go outside and do things, but I came from the sports world. I ended up going through high school, played basically every sport. I didn't play baseball in high school because I had football and basketball to worry about, basketball camp, football camp, whatever it may be. And then I ended up playing college football at a small school in Nebraska. I wouldn't be me without sports. So do you guys have a plan for that? Do you want your kids to go through sports? What is your plan for, I guess, athletics in general?
I knew you were going to ask that because I've heard some of your on sports, and it makes me laugh only because that is my husband. So that was one of his biggest concerns. My husband was very big on sports as a kid. He did football. Baseball was his love and his passion, though. You know, he thought he was going to play pro at some point, right? Like that was his focus.
We all do.
Yeah. So that was a big concern for him, like a huge concern for him. Even when we just talked homeschool before we even were in RV life, it's something we differ a little bit on, but it has always been a concern for him. Our kids did do some baseball and stuff when they were really little before we got on the road the second time and enjoyed it. And so they ask about it sometimes. So it's something that we are always discussing. We have talked about, I know you've had some people on the show who've done this as well. We've known people who will stop for a season and, you know, stay kind of in one area so their kids can do that, because there are some areas where they will allow your kids to be a part of it, even if they're not, you know, residents of that area. So it is something we've considered. We're always talking about it. Like I said, it's something we differ a little bit on because he is very into it. And I'm less so into it. I had my own experiences as a kid, as a dancer, and I felt like it took over my life. And unfortunately I lost kind of the love of it because of that, but he had a very different experience. So we try to balance that and just check in with the kids to see what they want to do. So it's something we're exploring for this next year to see if they really are into it, then we'll stop or not stop, but we'll, try to stay around one area and we'll let them see it and see how they feel about it.
Yeah, it's just the cusp of, you know, you're right on the cusp of that. Like, what are you going to do? Because that, 10-ish years old, right?
Yes.
They start, and, you know, we had a homeschool kid join our school, like when I was a freshman. He was a freshman. I was like a sophomore or maybe even junior, sophomore. He did all right, but he was way behind like where we were. You know, football wise, I came from a football high school. Like that was, I mean, one of the most winningest schools in the state of Nebraska at the time. Now they're falling off is what it is. The coach was there for like 30 years, you know? But anyway, so, I mean, I wouldn't be me without that discipline, without that drive, without that, you know, hard work mentality. And there's other ways to find that outside of sports. And I completely understand that. It's just, you know, that's a mentality thing that I would want my kids to go through. You know, it's like that type 3 fun. 90% of it sucked, but that 10% was worth every bit of that, every minute, every sprint, every up, down, whatever it was, you know, worth every hit that I took that I didn't really care for, but I hit a lot more. You know? Believe me, I inflicted more pain than received. But, you know, it's something that I was very passionate about. So that's why I love to ask that. And because it is something, you know, that's, you know, that, you know, a lot of people want their kids to go through. My sister was a dancer. She loved dance. And, you know, when you're done with it, you're kind of done with it. You can you can still do dance, but like football is like, I'm not going back. Like I can't go play flag football. I'm going to kill somebody. Like I wouldn't do it. But anyway, so I appreciate kind of talking about that. And when you guys get into that, or might not, we'll have you back on and we'll talk about it again. But moving on to the financial aspects, you talked about, kind of brought this up because your husband is retired military now. He's within the VA and all that. So what do you guys do to sustain this lifestyle, you're doing content creation. You got a decent following on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm guessing you have some income there within products, promoting products, whatever it may be. But how do you sustain this financially? And are there any specific tips you can offer to earning an income while on the road?
Yeah, so our situation, it's not unique because we actually come across quite a few retired military on the road, but I'd say we're in a semi-unique situation because we do have constant income, which does give us a little bit more freedom than I know some people get. So my husband, he is considered 100% disabled from the military, not in regular life, but the way the military works anyway. So he gets VA disability for that, and he'll get that for his whole life. So that is a constant income. Now he does, he has done very well also in staying informed and taking advantage of the benefits that they have out there for veterans, which I don't know that all veterans are always aware of. So he has been able to take advantage of some extra educational and career benefits to where he actually has been in school for the last 2 years we were on the road. He just finished with his bachelor's, and he was able to do that. Yeah, he was able to do that through them, with them paying for the school and also getting a stipend for the month. So that also was additional income that was coming in. And then he's now building a health coaching business. So that is not earning income yet, but that will at some point. And for me, I have had an Etsy shop for a large number of years. It is not super successful. It's more of a hobby income that comes and goes, but that's something that I use for some extra spending money for us. And then content creation. I started making money actually about a year ago. I got my first check from that, and I make, some sort of income from that as well now, but with working with brands. So that is currently what is adding into our extra income flow.
Well, perfect. There's a million ways to make money while on the road or remote or whatever you want. It's just so Etsy account. I started one, done nothing with it, but Shopify. I'd love to have a Shopify store, and it's still there. It's still like, it's like once I kind of calm down a little bit, I just took my dog back to my parents' place, my sister's dog. I took the dog to keep it in the family. I took it back to my sister and my parents because they needed it. But I have so much time on my hands now. So I'm like, holy crap, my life is back. I've been playing so much volleyball. I've been out, getting beers with friends. I'm like, holy moly. But anyway, sorry, that's a side note. But there's a lot of ways to make money on the road, and there's a million different ways. But what about budgeting advice? You said that was kind of the first time around was like you were spending money left and right because you were hopping around too much. So what budgeting advice would you say for full time this time around that you would like to tell other folks?
So as far as budgeting itself, I don't have advice because I'm not very good at it, but keeping low budget, that I can do. So honestly, our 1,000 Trails membership is a huge money saver for us. Now we did pay for our membership. We got one of the lifetime memberships, and we did get it up front. We paid for it. So now we only pay annual dues, and that works out to less than $100 a month. And then we try to stay at those campgrounds as much as possible. So for, less than $100 a month, we could stay all month if we wanted to and not pay any additional fees. So that's much less than we were paying in rent before. So that's our biggest money saver for us. And then I feel like I'm going to start thinking of it as my superpower, as just being able to find the cheapest possible campgrounds that exist that aren't like, places I wouldn't take my children because I have to be careful about that. Yeah. But yeah. So honestly, we save money by just trying to find the cheaper places to stay. So we'll boondock for free. I really hate to pay to boondock. So if we're going to boondock, we do it for free somewhere amazing. State parks are usually a cheaper option. So we love, and that they're beautiful to be in. So we love state parks as options. We take advantage of veterans and military benefits anywhere that we can go. There are for people out there who are military and don't know, there are a lot of states that offer discounts on their state park camping for military. So actually we have a pass through Oregon. We can actually stay up to 10 days a month in Oregon for free at their campsites, full hookup campsites. And they're fantastic. We were able to find those sorts of discounts a lot of places that we go. Other than that, if we do need to stay at a private park, we do a weekly rate. We haven't stayed anywhere for a monthly rate, but I know that's actually the cheapest way to stay. We just honestly don't stay a month most places, but a weekly rate is usually going to save you a little bit of money. And then we just try to find the little mom and pop spots that are a little more affordable. Sometimes we're a little farther away than where we want to go. Like we stayed in Moab. We found a great place on somebody's property that was further away from Moab, but it was a full hookup park and we didn't mind the drive. And it was so much more affordable than staying because Moab is super expensive to stay in it. And we just do that a lot. We stay a little further away and save money that way. And then let's see, that's just staying at parks, I guess. Other than that, we just try to keep our other expenses as low as possible. Groceries are a tough one. We are a mainly organic, gluten-free family. So groceries are crazy expensive. My kids eat like teenagers. I don't know what we'll do when they're teenagers.
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Like, okay, this is what really bothers me about that. I'm going to speak my mind a little, just a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm the same way. I'm a healthy eater, right? You walk into most grocery stores, produce is right there, right? Produce is expensive, right? You can go get the frozen stuff, but you don't know exactly what's happening when they get frozen, right? You see it. This is fresh. This is fresh. Yeah, it might be sprayed on, whatever, GMO. I'm not 100% on that track because it's really, unless you find it in the jungle, it's probably not 100% organic anymore. Just because of, it is, but I still, it's the healthier option. And then I eat literally, I go to the veggies, I go and I grab eggs and I grab meat. That's about all I eat. Right. And it is super expensive to live that way. They want you to, it's like they want you to eat the crap, the cheap crap. And why? Because you end up making more money on them on the long run. Whatever.
Oh, you can't. Don't even get me started on that. I won't be able to stop.
We can have a great conversation.
That's a whole different conversation. That's a different podcast.
Not full timing.
Right there.
Not full timing. Yep. But it is. Eating a healthy lifestyle on the road is also a difficult thing to do because a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but being on the road kind of incites this idea in your head of I'm on vacation, right? So for me, I'm a foodie and I love going out and eat and I still go out and get a burger every once in a while. I still go out and get wings every once in a while. So how do you go about it? I mean, do you use Walmart Plus groceries or do you go to Whole Foods? What do you do for food wise?
Honestly, this is one of those things we try to balance as much as we can. So like you said, I try to balance the healthy or not the organic options and whatnot where we can. Our main shopping is usually done at Sprouts is actually our favorite store, to be honest. We find we're able to shop. It's one store where we can go and get almost everything that we need, whereas other stores don't always have that. My husband does avoid quite a few different things because of his illness and how he treats that. And so there's a lot of things he looks for that other stores just don't carry. So if there's a Sprouts in the area, we're in Sprouts and we're there. Saving money wise though, Costco, totally Costco. If there's a Costco in town, we do as much bulk as we can. You can get a lot of organic meats and, we do some of the fruits, not as much of the veggies and stuff, but we'll bulk up on eggs there. Well, can't find them anymore, but
so eggs, expensive.
We'll get they have them. We buy all of our meat from Costco because it's not necessarily the best option, but it's the most affordable, healthiest option we can find because we go through a lot of it. So that and eggs. And then we do like to enjoy some of the gluten-free, treats or snacks for the kids for travel days and things like different tortillas and stuff that we can also get at Costco a lot of the time. So we do as much bulk shopping as we can. That's definitely where we save the most money. And then Sprouts when we can. We do enjoy Whole Foods every once in a while. And Walmart, we do for some things as well. You can find some decent gluten-free options and some organic options depending on the area you are in. We have definitely experienced more like food desert areas this year than we had dealt with previously. So honestly, we've been to some places where it's hard to shop. We'll walk into the store and it's hard to pick something because they don't have options that we usually would choose. And we just do the best that we can with what is in front of us. And we also do enjoy eating out. It is something we do enjoy. So that's kind of where that balance is for us, because I'm not going out and getting organic food every time I go out.
No, you can't. I mean, you got to live a little, right? Everything in moderation, you're going to be fine. But like, it's unfortunately, you know, it's just how our world is. It's the almighty dollar. It creates a lot of evils, but you know.
Yes, but I will tell you, the most hate and the most engagement I ever get on any of my content is if I go on and talk about our food budget, because people have a real problem with how much money we spend on food. So I don't know where they buy their groceries. They have a real problem with it. I will tell you that.
Oh my goodness. Food's a tough one. I would be curious on that, because I've traveled for work. I've done all the things, I've traveled for, leisure, both quite a bit, more leisure, obviously, but quite a bit for work is in recent years. And, finding healthy eating options while on the road is not an easy thing. Specifically work travel is tougher because it's quick. You got to be I'm on the move at all times, but like for you guys, it's a little easier option, but still hard to do. So I'll probably end up having you on another conversation about that. We'll talk more later.
Those are my favorite conversations to have.
Good. All right. Well, hey, real quick, this is my second time having a pee break on my show, so I have to do it.
Okay.
57. Yep. So go get yourself a drink or something. No, we'll be right back. All right. We are back in action. 59.50. I typed that wrong. I said 30. All right. So great conversation we're having so far. I'd love to talk more about the food, but we don't need to talk about that. We're talking about full-time RVing. So
yes.
Community and connection. So you got 3 kids, right? You've been at this for 2.5 years. Have you found yourself like a sense of community within the RV community? It seems like you were friends with a lot of people when I met you down in Florida. So I think you're doing all right there. But I mean, you do 1,000 trails. Have you done any RV rallies or major community events since you've been on the road? Full-time families?
So community is a little bit of a tougher one for me, but I will say we have done rallies. We've never actually done a full-time families rally. We are part of the community, but have never gone to one of their rallies. We did some Republic of Nomads rallies our first year back on the road. We did quite a few of those. I can't recall how many in a year, but it was like 3 or 4. It was a lot.
What is that?
Republic of Nomads. Oh, it's another group of nomadic families. It's specifically for families.
Never heard of it.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, it's another great group. And they have not put on a rally in a long time, but they were doing quite a few of them for a while. And that was where we met a lot of people. It was mainly on the West Coast. So we met a lot of people through that. Our kids made a lot of friends. And honestly, we mainly meet friends through the 1,000 Trails parks. I meet a lot of friends through Instagram, honestly, that we connect through there. And then we eventually connect. We've been traveling most of the winter, pretty much on track with another friend of actually a couple different families. We go in and out of parks together, but right now we're in the park together. So our kids are great friends. So they'll spend time together. We just try to connect with them. We're very intentional about it. Our kids make friends everywhere they go. They do not. People always are afraid of the social, and that, like, my kids have never met a child that was not their best friend. They will go introduce themselves.
We're best friends now.
Yeah, we're best friends. What's their name? Yep. I have no idea, but we're best friends always.
Yep, forever.
So they're very social. They will introduce themselves. Like it's amazing to me. My husband and I are both kind of introverts, and we're cool to just hang out, and our kids, like, they will introduce themselves to anybody. They will invite themselves into any situation. So they are doing way better than we are. They do fantastic with it. We have a harder time making the closer connections, but we have made community on the road. We have a few close families that we do really enjoy just meeting back up with. It has more of that family feel. And our kids are comfortable. We have for us, it's really nice when we can find families who have similar parenting styles or similar eating styles, similar schedules even, that can just make things a little simpler. It's just like in regular life, right? Like sticks and bricks life. Yeah. It's like finding that community where if we can find another family that's gluten-free, for example, that makes things really easy for us because we don't have to be awkward at potlucks when we can't eat anything or whatever the case is. It's just like with our friends who are vegans, it's easier for them to be with other vegans sometimes. It doesn't always have to be that way. It's not like we only have friends who eat like us, because we don't. But sometimes it can make it really nice for the kids as well. But yeah, we just meet people. Honestly, I'd say Thousand Trails and Instagram are probably the biggest ways we've met people. Oh, and RV Queens. RV Queens. I've met a lot of people through RV Queens.
Who is another podcaster that's actually her husband's from Nebraska as well. Oh, yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, well, she lived there for a little bit. She's from Missouri. Kate, right, is her name?
Yes.
I only met her down in Florida. I have not reached back out to her. So we talked a little bit. We said we'd try to do something eventually. We'll get there. But yeah, found out that he is from Elkhorn, which is Omaha, basically. It's same difference.
Oh.
If you're from there, maybe not, but whatever. It's like an hour from where I grew up. So yeah, community and connection is pretty, like-minded people, right? You're going to find people, timing wise, like you said, this is our schedule. So your schedule fits in. Our kids love your kids. Like-minded people, you're going to find them just like anywhere you go, just like anything else in other life. But kids are apparently a great way to make friends in the RV community, because kids are not as bashful as most adults. So makes things easier for you. But
totally.
What about some advice for beginners, someone that's getting on the road, or even yourselves looking back, 3 years ago when you started or about to start? What would you tell yourself? Here's 3 things that you need to know before you start this.
Oh gosh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Food is going to be way more expensive than you ever think. That's something I should have been prepared for. Oh gosh, I'd say that it's going to be hard, but it's going to be you're going to grow so much. I've grown so much. And I think it would be impossible for someone to do this lifestyle and not be a totally different person. It is challenging, but it really does make you more resilient. And yeah, I don't know. All right. I don't know if I have 3 specifics. That all close enough.
That's fine. Yeah, hey, that's all you got. That's all you got. But how about this one? On top of that, what are some common misconceptions about RV living that you would like to address? Because there's quite a few out there. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be, your kids. Your kids are not going to have friends. Your kids make friends so easily. What's a misconception that you can think of?
This one's a tough one. I feel like I have to be careful what I say, but
So be careful.
I would say that one, I think because I hear a lot of different people say this, so I want to make sure there's other people out there who haven't had the same experience, but not everybody is as welcoming as I think that I expected when we got on the road. I think,
really?
Yeah, I think based on what I thought it was going to be like, it's not quite that. And based on friends I know who have been doing this lifestyle for a very long time, they have even told me that there's been a definite shift between how it used to be to how it is now. I'd say Like, I think I expected a lot more campfires. I think I expected a lot more like open invitations. And to be honest, I can go weeks at a campground and not even see my neighbors, which is crazy to me. I thought everybody would be outside, and they're not always like that. Or not everyone always seems open to making new friends or doing that. Some people feel, and this could be a perception, but I just think it's sometimes people seem a little more closed off or happy to remain in their own little bubble than to expand their bubble, which I think I just expected a little more. I don't know. I expected it to be a little more different. Yeah, I expected more open community. It feels, and it differs depending where you are in the areas and everything as well. But I think part of it is just, our country has changed a lot, with how things have been the last 5 to 10 years. And there's just some distrust between people. And sometimes I think people are just afraid to put themselves out there, or, I guess I can't assume what other people think, but that is one thing. I thought there'd be more community, just like open community and more open-mindedness. I thought, we were getting on the road to open up our lives, to open up our kids' lives, to really like experience new cultures and new people and new things. We didn't want them to be closed-minded or only see the same city for their whole life. We wanted to show them things. And I feel like we've come across a lot more families that we expected that don't necessarily seem that they are as interested in exploring all of the different parts. I don't know how to say that in a way that sounds not, I don't know, but it's just not exactly what I'd expect. But I'd also say other people had different experiences than that, right? Like, depends where you are and who you're around. And yeah. So I think I expected more of the community aspect of it. More like you walk down the road at the campground and people are like, "Oh, come on over to our campfire," or
more
"Oh,
kumbaya.
hey, where are you from?" Yeah, a little bit more kumbaya going on. And some places it's like that, but other places it's like, we spend time around people that they like looked at you weird when you even walk by, like they think it's their street instead of like a campground where you have neighbors right next to you.
Oh, that's funny. More kumbaya.
Yeah.
I guess it never really, it makes sense, right? You're going to find good people anywhere you go. You're going to find good people. You're going to find not necessarily bad people, people you just don't mesh with, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are. Like you could be at the same, say it's like any concert that you go to, right? It's like your favorite band, right? There's going to be 50% of people you're going to like, 50% of people that you'd like rather not have be there. It's the same idea, right? So yeah, it makes total sense to me. I think just more, you think more of the, if there is the free living lifestyle, the free-ish lifestyle, you'd think it'd be more like-minded across the boat because you're doing something that's very different compared to the norm, right?
And I feel like I didn't say it very well. I want to real quick I feel like I messed my words up, but I want to make sure too, because I tend to use the word like-minded, and I want to make sure sometimes when I say these things, they don't come out the best. But what I expected is more people being open to more people. Like, hey, you and me don't do anything alike. We don't have the same interests. I don't know, we vote different. We have different religions, whatever. I thought there'd be more like, but that's okay. Like, we're different, but that's cool. Like, we're meeting. I thought it would be more like that. Like, hey, you're different. That's cool. I want to learn about you. Tell me about you. And like, we're all RVing, so we have something in common. Like, I kind of expected more of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you're not getting more of that. I'd be your friend. I'm cool with everything. Don't care. I'm about as cool as they come. Like, pretty chill about it all. It's a blessing and a curse. Oh shoot. Interesting common interesting misconception. I would kind of think it'd be, like you said, more open, more welcoming. I think it probably leans towards more the welcoming, but you still find that opposite side of things, right? And usually the bad stands out more than the good. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Or not so much bad, just like
Right.
whatever that is versus whatever this is. So, anyway, so along your 2.5-year road trip, even the 4 months, we'll include the 4 months with it. What are some of the favorite experiences that you've had? Places, things, or maybe unexpected benefits that you've received or found out from full-time RV life?
I would say, oh gosh, favorite experiences. That is a really tough one. I would say we really loved Yosemite. Yosemite was pretty incredible. Fun fact, I am actually from Northern California, and I had never been to Yosemite until we got on the road. So Yosemite was a big one. We really enjoyed that. We also sorry, I'm trying to plug in my computer.
You got to see El Cap?
We did, yeah. So
nice.
That was fantastic when we went, and we went in the snow, and it was amazing. And Glacier National Park, showstopper, absolutely fantastic. Totally
I gotta
fantastic. Sedona is a big favorite of ours. It's a little bit too many crowds for us. We don't like crowds, but I still go back, even though I don't like crowds, because there's something about Sedona that really gets to me.
Arizona? Where's that?
Arizona. We love Arizona. My husband would settle in Arizona right now if he could. He absolutely loved that. But as far as like unexpected places that I didn't think I would like, those were all pretty much like, oh, everyone knows these are fantastic. But unexpected are some things like Louisiana. Louisiana wasn't really on my list. And we went to Louisiana, and we were only there for a few days, and I was totally in love. I thought it was such a cool place. So that was fun.
Where in Louisiana?
Well, we stayed north of New Orleans. So we stayed at Fontainebleau State Park, which is a beautiful state park, by the way. And that was just a really cool experience. We did a swamp tour out there, and we did one day in New Orleans, and it was unexpected how much we actually really liked it. And Florida, we're actually really enjoying Florida. There are some parts here we didn't know how we were going to feel about it. Most RVers end up in Florida at some point. Some people spend every winter here, but this is our first winter here, and we are really, really enjoying it so far.
Florida's not a bad spot. I've considered it. I've considered Florida, but I do not do well with major humidity. My hair looks great, but other than that, I don't really care for it.
The humidity is rough. I don't care for the humidity. In fact, we're staying a little later than we planned. And to be honest, it's been more humid than I thought this time of year. But even with that, we really like it. It just feels kind of wild here, like the trees and the wildlife that you just see around. It feels like another world. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty damn tropical. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tropical. Yeah. But
it is.
Other than that, I mean, we've just found some. Oh, another one that we really loved was Goblin Valley State Park in Utah. We actually enjoyed it more than some of the national parks. We loved Goblin Valley. That was a good one.
Where is that?
That is in like central Utah. Goblin Valley. Yeah, it's very cool.
Wow.
Very cool. Yeah. There's like all these goblins that they call them, like all these, the sandstone or whatnot. And the kids loved it. We boondocked there. It was our favorite boondocking spot we've ever done. It was fantastic. Highly recommend.
Yep. I could go check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Highly recommend.
Very nice. Well, Louisiana, I went there once, did not care for it. Did like the Southern Pines, though. They're giant, couple, 100-foot trees, and they got little pine trees are all up top. It's like just giant bark. It's just like one giant tree, and the tree, like the canopy starts like 100 feet up. They're freaking cool. Mm-hmm. I do like them. But I did not stay in a great part of Louisiana, so I didn't have great things to say about it.
That makes all the difference, though, right? That makes all the difference. Yeah, it does.
I got to see Toby Keith about a year and a half before he passed. So that was a big part of it. I really enjoyed the concert. Was phenomenal. I knew every word to every song. So it was a good time. The beer did not stay cold very long, though. It was pretty warm. It was like mid-September, and it was still damn hot.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, but anyway, so future plans. What do you guys see yourselves doing? Do you see this going for a while? It sounds like it. You said no plans on stopping anytime soon. But what's like a future goal for you guys within the RV space or your full-time RV life?
That's a really hard one for us because it
they're
is
all
funny.
Really hard for you. It seems like they're all very hard for you.
I have a really hard time with questions. I'm finding out, but it's true that the longer you spend on the road, I feel like the more you can't see yourself getting off the road. It's one of the, if you can call it a downside, I'd say it's one of the downsides of RV life. Maybe that's a warning for people, is like, once you do it, it's really hard to stay in one place once you move so often. Like I get very like itchy. Like we stayed in 2 different places this year for 28 days. That was the longest we'd stayed anywhere. And I was itching at the end to get out. Like, oh my gosh, I don't need my GPS when I go places. This is a problem. Like I'm too settled. It's time to leave.
It is time. It is time.
Yeah, it's time to go. So for us, that's hard because we don't know where we're going to end up. We've decided that we'll do this as long as it works for everybody. So if the kids didn't want to do it anymore, or me or Steven didn't want to do it anymore, then we would evaluate at that point. But we haven't yet found a place that we necessarily want to settle down. And I know that I want to do international travel before we settle, but we want the kids to be a little bit older so that we can really enjoy it. So I think we've talked about, kind of building our businesses and doing this for another couple of years at least, and then maybe trying to do some international travel. And then at that point, evaluate, see if we are ready to settle down and just do part-time travel, or I don't know, maybe we'll be those people who RV for their entire life. I don't know. It's hard to tell at this point. Yeah,
it's that's kind of, once you start to travel, you get the travel bug, right? And you start to itch a little bit more. And like, I get the itch for getting out of work. So same idea, right? Like you're just like, I'm in the same spot for something. I got to go see something different. That's really what, luckily I do work for an RV company. I can take an RV basically anytime I want, but I still have responsibilities, So eventually maybe they'll just put me on the road and let me be on the road, or I just have to take the move and buy an RV and do it myself. And then just let me go. But we'll see on that part. But getting the itch, I didn't think that's kind of a positive and a negative, right? You want to keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so cool. What about some gadgets and gizmos that you come across that you're like, I have to have these?
There's a couple necessities that we have. We would not, they're pretty basic. Like we would not travel without a surge protector. Absolutely. We never plug in without a surge protector. We use our Power Watchdog and we love it so much.
Your what?
Power Watchdog.
Oh, Power. Okay. I thought you said Power Watchdog. So like, it's like a surge protector type?
Yeah. Yeah. By Hughes Autoformers. Yeah, it's a good one. A great one. Let's see, other gadgets. Oh my goodness. What do we use all the time? It's pretty basic stuff, like a water filter. You got to have a water filter. I would never drink water from these campgrounds.
Yep.
For us, the washer and dryer is a gadget that I cannot live without, but I don't know if that's RV specific, I guess. Oh gosh. Some things that we've come across people on the road that don't have, that surprise us because we've had to use them so much. Like, even though we don't do a ton of boondocking, we would not travel without our generator. We've actually had to use our generator several times inside of a park when we've lost power. So that's something I would not be left without. Gosh, what else do we have? That's a necessity. Oh, our air compressor. That gets used constantly. Constantly use our air compressor. Yeah. That is that. And then my husband would, argue that it needs every single tool known to man at all times. Needs to have that at all times. So
yeah, it's a tough one. Like, well, tools, one, are stupid expensive, but they're also heavy, like very heavy. So you think about weight wise within the RV, right? You need to think about those things, just because it's weight, right? I mean, you're taking your whole family, taking all these things, taking the life of whatever you have, and you only have so much space within an RV. Carrying capacities are a real thing. You shouldn't overload your RV. Shouldn't do all these things, but yeah, tools are a tough one. I have, like you said, your husband had a lot of tools because he's a mechanic by trade, right? Well, I have a ton of tools because I was a roofer by trade for a long time. I did construction for a long time, and then I got into like my flipping motorcycles for fun, and then so I had so many tools. I still have so many tools, and I won't get rid of any of them. Like, ever. Because like, well, if I get rid of them, I got to replace them, and they're expensive,
Yeah. There's been plenty of times that he has proven me wrong because he, tried to bring as few things as possible on the road because of the heaviness and the space. And there's been plenty of times that we've had to rebuy tools on the road that he already has sitting in our storage unit because obviously we can't get to them. So now we have duplicates on tools, of course. And in that also, as far as they are tools, but I would argue that people should have tree trimmers of some kind with them in an RV, especially if you have a large RV. We have used it at several different parks to fit in a spot. And also a leaf blower. Those are some not necessarily RV specific tools that we use all the time. So
question on the trimmer, is that like at most places that like RV parks, they cool with you just trimming their trees?
Good question.
Right.
I would say that if an RV park puts my RV in a site, they know what size I am and they put me in a certain site, then we assume that they must be okay with us making an adjustment to the site because I have to fit my RV into it. So it's not something we do all of the time, but yeah, and it's not like we're at like state parks cutting down trees or anything. That's definitely not going to happen. And it doesn't happen all the time, but there are sometimes you get into places that they just don't maintain the park very well. And, our RV is 13 and a half feet tall at its tallest point. So if you've got branches that are hanging down at 10 feet, we're not going to make it through. So whether they're okay with it or not, I don't know.
It's a better ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yes. Which is my husband's specialty. Yes.
Yep. Sometimes it's just easier. Well, job's done now. I can't do much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, real quick on the 13 and a half feet tall, for anyone listening that doesn't know, not all bridges and overpasses are 13 and a half feet tall. So True. You can use RV Life Pro, which I've done a full podcast with them on there. So you can check that out because you can route out everything. You can put in your full detail of what your RV is, how long it is, how high it is, and then it'll route you out to where the easiest route is to where your location can be. It might not be the quickest route, but it's the safest and most convenient for you and your RV. So you can check that out, RV Voice Podcast.
Yes.
So cool. I like all that. But last question here, Stephanie. This is one I love to ask people because sometimes it's touching. Sometimes it's like, well, why not? Short and easy. But what's your why? Why did you guys, decide to do it? And why do you still do it?
Our why is literally time together. My husband was in the military for a long time and missed out on a lot with our first two kids. And we didn't want to be apart anymore. So we wanted more time together, more time with our kids. And we had some experiences before we got back on the road with some family members that passed before they got to do a lot of stuff in their life. And it just really, it's true. It just, the cliche that life is short, right? Because it really is. And we didn't want to wait until retirement. Well, I guess technically he was retired, but we didn't want to wait until we were too old to really enjoy the things that we want to do. And we wanted our kids to be with us. So that time is our major point.
It's a big one. And a lot of people, the one thing that they're not going to make more of, there's two things they're not going to make more of: land and time. Can't do it. Doesn't make sense. It's not doable, unfortunately. Man, if you figured that out, you'd make a lots of money.
Yes. I'm working on it.
We'll get there someday, right? Oh, but shoot. It's been a wonderful conversation, Stephanie. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day because you have other things to do with your life as well. But everybody out there, give them a follow. Their Facebook following is fantastic. How long have you been doing your Facebook?
Less time than Instagram. I don't know. It just grew on its own.
Damn. Yeah, I finally started a Facebook. You guys follow me on Facebook if you want to.
I will.
It's the same stuff as on Instagram. Okay. Luckily, there's a little toggle switch. You can say cross post, so I don't really have to deal with it.
All I do.
Yeah, it's fantastic. How do you question for my career? I guess how do you go about commenting back on Facebook?
How do I go about it? I actually go into Facebook and I do my comments in Facebook. Okay. Yeah. I know you can use Meta Business Suite, but I'm not a huge fan. So I do it all through Facebook.
You're that Zuckerberg. It's terrible. It's awful. It's not super user-friendly. No, it's not. No. But shoot. Well, Stephanie, again, thank you very much. Follow her on Instagram. That's how we became friends. And I also met her down at the Florida Tampa RV show. And then check out her links. She's got a couple things on there you can check out and buy. If not, buy somewhere else. Don't get a discount code. That's up to you. But everyone out there, I talked about, I run the RV voice, but I am not the RV voice. I'm just the guy who facilitates it all. People like Stephanie are the RV voice. So Stephanie, would you please do us the honors to close us out?
Stay tuned for more from the RV voice.
Yeah. Woo. I love it.